Hello, my name is Karen Hunter Jackson, and I'm here representing Miami Gardens Strong. We're representing the residents of Miami Gardens who are upset and feel betrayed by our elected officials who decided to sign an agreement with Formula One in the county to allow Formula One to race in Miami Gardens. They knew from the very beginning that we were against it, but the main issue is betrayal here. And we have to send the message that what the campaign issues that they run on, the promises that they make, we will hold them accountable. But first, I'd like to take a minute and talk about the awesome volunteers we have and that have been working very hard, canvassing every day, putting sweat equity into this campaign. We are the very same residents whose interest and well-being our city council members should represent. Today we're here in front of Norwood Elementary School, 9810 Northwest 14th Court. And this is also the site of our drive-by, our walk-up petition signing location. So we'll be here every day from 5 to 8, and people can just drive up. We'll give them their petitions on a clipboard, and they can sign them. Our deadline is June 8th. Frederick Douglass said, "Power concedes nothing without demand." So right now we demand our elected officials to keep their word and to stand accountable to the people who elected them. Further, I just want to say that our recall effort has already been successful. We have demonstrated that we will not quietly sit back and accept being lied to or deceived. Our elected officials have been given notice that the people will rise up and demand to be respected and demand that they represent the people's will. Not the will of the county, not the will of Hard Rock Stadium, not the will of Formula One, not the will of Stephen Ross, or any other predators that come to our community. We are the same residents that were given campaign promises of opposition to Formula One at Hard Rock Stadium. But in the middle of the night, it seems, without a town hall meeting, they made an agreement without notifying the residents. Most of the residents heard about it in the media. Our message is loud and clear. You betrayed our trust. So why should you be given the opportunity to be trusted again? Especially, shame on Vice Mayor Reggie Leon, who represents District 2, this area. We live in this area. I live in this area. I am his constituent. This is the closest area to the stadium. And these are the constituents who will face the greatest harm. Experts say that the noise levels will sound like a chainsaw in our backyards, You know that experts say that air quality will also be a major issue in our community. But let me tell you this, the deal that they struck states, quote unquote, the promoter will monitor the noise level and the air quality. If that is not the fox guarding the hen house, I don't know what is. How absurd is that? At the very least, we expected them, you, Reggie Leon, even more so than the others, to safeguard your own constituents. But you failed us. We don't need to see op-eds from people who don't live in Miami Gardens, posing as experts, explaining to us what good fortune Formula One is for our community. nor do we need anyone else to explain to us what is best for us. We have seen historically how that turns out. We incorporated for the main reason of deciding for ourselves what is in our best interest, what's in the best interest of our community. Not for what's in the best interest of the county or Miami Beach or downtown or the stadium, but what's in the best interest of the residents of Miami Gardens. Now, we don't buy for 1 minute that we don't buy it for 1 minute that they felt like their hands were tied. Because if their hands were tied, the question I pose, why was then there a need to even sign an agreement? 5 of the 7 elected officials, including the mayor, believes they struck a good deal. The deal was an embarrassment. It was scraps and crumbs. The last administration seemed to have their hands free. They seemed to have their backbone intact. The slick ads about the economic impact and jobs, the potential for Miami Gardens having brand recognition is a joke. We have experienced the lion's share of profits from major events from the stadium going everywhere else except Miami Gardens. We neither have hotel rooms nor 5-star restaurants. The foot traffic for those events take the money into the stadium. They eat at the stadium. They use their limos to get there. They block off our roads so that our local businesses are harmed. And these people do not patronize our local businesses. So the idea that this is a windfall for Miami Gardens is absurd. Our residents were adamant and resolute, but it appears that only 2 elected officials understood and stood by our residents and did not aid nor abet the county. Stephen Ross, Hard Rock Stadium, nor Formula One. We believe we are going to surpass our goal for seat 2, in spite of not having the deep pockets to counteract the spin that Stephen Ross and big money buys can do for you. The constituents in seat 2 are going to suffer the most, Vice Mayor Reggie Leon, and he knows it. His actions are egregious. Although we had a very short petition gathering period, only 30 days, and they had deep pockets to run the slick ads putting lipstick on a pig, but we put sweat equity into this. This is grassroots. And we had other challenges. Nevertheless, we're coming out on top with this, with the COVID and the social distancing and people being hesitant to open their doors. But we have gotten the word out, and we feel confident that seat 2 is a victory. And I just want to end this with saying, these residents, children, and let me talk about this school for a minute right here. This school has the largest population of special needs children. Mr. Cunningham here, his child was a special needs student here. And a lot of them with autism and other issues have hearing sensitivities. They had a hearing where this was explained to them. These kids live in this community. But without regard to children, to our elderly with respiratory problems. I have asthma. And to just the blatant disregard, we cannot just sit by and accept that. So for that reason, we are victorious in letting all elected officials going forward know that the people will rise up, and the people we'll hold them accountable. If not now, when they run for re-election, we'll be there with the same issue. You betrayed us once, we will not trust you again. Thank you.
You said you had a victory at state 2. What does that mean? What's the next step?
The next step is to, there's a second step to the petition gathering. Once we submit them to the city clerk on the 10th, they have to verify that we have enough. You know, we have to always, even when even when it's an election, you always want to have extra because there's a certain amount that could be tossed out. So we're facing that challenge too. We have no control over what gets tossed out, but we will be confident in what we're turning in. And once that is approved by the city and elections department, the next step is to basically do it again, but at a larger scale. But what has happened here is that we have gotten the attention of the community that they didn't even feel a need to do a town hall meeting to let the residents know what they were doing or what they had done. When we went out to hand out petitions, people didn't even know that the deal had been reached. Now we have the ear of our residents. We have the ear of local media to get the word out so that so that our residents are informed and will know what they're up against and will join us in this fight the next go round.
So you've been doing this before Formula One deal was struck. I think you mentioned last time we spoke, around 2 years you guys had been going up and down, talking to different people. How many of the elected officials do you feel knew that you all did not want this as a community and still voted the other way? Is it all of them or just the
What do you all think? Oh. They all knew. There had been public hearings at Carroll City, at Carroll City and at Norland Senior. We packed the council chambers, took buses to Dade County. For standing room over. I had to sit in the media overflow room. They knew that this was a volatile issue and everyone was in and absolutely clear that we did not want this. And for them to do this in the cloak of COVID and at night and didn't even respect the residents enough to have a town hall meeting to say this is what we're considering doing. And after having done it, not even call a town meeting to say this is what we've done, and this is what it will mean for you, to you. So it's just unconscionable what they've done.
The last time we spoke, you also mentioned all the activities and events that they have. Is it just this one that you're upset with, or is it all overall, all of the events that they do at the stadium?
Well, let me say this. Hard Rock Stadium has not been a friend to this community. Would you guys say they've been a friend? No. In fact, this street, which they didn't have permission for, they started doing Uber drop off and pick up. So the residents can't even get to and from their home. They block off the streets, the people litter. The promises they made when they built the stadium that they were going to build a second access road in the Lake Lucerne area, who is harmed whenever they have an emergency and there's a major event. The emergency vehicles can't even get into their community. They promised to build the road. How many years ago has that been? A lot of years. And those folks still don't have an access road. And they're debating as to who's going to pay for it with the county. Now they have $5 million to throw at the city for Formula One. As I said, that's peanuts. One race car costs more than $5 million. Corporations give $5 million without expecting anything in exchange every day. So tell me how that's a deal. Yes, they have their little food drives and the Halloween party, but when it comes to substantive things, they haven't put a wing on Florida Memorial College. They haven't funded anything of significance in this community. So, everything that Hard Rock Stadium and Stephen Ross does is self-serving. And we are sick of it. We are sick of it.
You mentioned being sick of it. There's some people that say expand this entire area and build some of the things you were talking about, hotels and restaurants, possibly taking people's homes to do that process. How do you guys feel about that? And how do you respond to those concerns?
Well, they've been promising hotels for the last 20, 30 years. So every time they revise the plan, it gets on the new plan. It's on the same plan that access road is on. And when it comes to, I know people have legitimate concerns about the entities that we're dealing with being predators in our community, wanting to buy up, drive down the values of our properties, and then buy up the homes to do whatever they want to do with them. So that's always a concern, especially in a community of color where, you look at Overtown, you can look all around the country. This pattern is not new, and it's not new to any of us. But the media would like to suppress it and put little cute op-ed pieces out to suggest that we don't know what's best for ourselves and that we should just embrace this because it's a wonderful thing coming to our community. We've heard that story before. We're not buying it.
And just to confirm, you already received the amount of signatures needed for this to continue?
Yes.
Okay.
But as I said, we don't know how many they're going to cast out. So we need everyone, all of our brothers and sisters, white, black, Hispanic, no matter what language, Asian, we need you to come out because we need the overflow. So we will be here 5 to 8 every day in front of Norwood Elementary School until the 8th. So don't wait. Sign your petition today and let your voice be heard. Do not sleep on this because if they do it to us this time, they'll do it again.